and then do this? Why do this to the French that are so incredibly socialist, so pro-Islamic? Why, Joe Biggs?
Destabilization happening right now. You know, we have in America one of the strongest countries that will really stand up and fight against these crazy leftists. And now we have within Obama, he is internally trying to destabilize America. They're taking the George Soros money. They're funding these days of rage that are allowed to happen tomorrow. Then there's also going to be the massive protests with hundreds of thousands of people that are paid by George Soros to come in and destabilize and then demonize the local law enforcement to instill a federalized
I agree. So
police
what's coming
report.
next? It looks like it didn't a beta test. It looks like they're making their move worldwide.
Yes, this is it.
I never saw communist flags. Everywhere I go, just red flags are running around, giggling. I mean, it's crazy.
Obama's leading it. He wants to take down America so they can take out this global plan to destabilize everything, put in a one world government, and then use the UN to take over and run all these different countries. It's out of control.
And then it's going to come in as the savior and bioweapon Africa and kill them. I mean, it's and what's sad is they're clearly setting the Muslims up. And I'm not defending the horrible thing they're under and the stuff that happens. But, I mean, clearly, this isn't some white guilt or Western guilt.
The Military Times is already writing articles talking about how the UN's going to be able to go against American citizens. It's in our face. They don't even hide it anymore. It's full throttle right now. They want to tear America apart so they can go on and completely destabilize the entire planet.
I'll say this, Joe. I know you've been a viewer for a long time before you worked for the last 3 years. But, I mean, it's crazy for me to see everything we warned of because we have the documents and the experts, the advisors. We just knew the facts, so we went with it. We didn't care what people said about us. But it's surreal to see everything we warned of now starting to happen. And it's not fun to have our credibility rise. It's not fun to be proven right. It's actually a very sick feeling.
Yeah, there was a guy arguing with me on Twitter earlier as this attack was unfolding. He's like, why do you think that we should arm all citizens? I was like, well, look at this. San Bernardino, pretty gun-free zone. Orlando nightclub, gun-free zone. Paris, Belgium, all these areas get hit because they are gun-free zones. They are soft targets. An armed populace will stop these kinds of things. Maybe not a car bomb, but a good bulk of these attacks that are being carried out.
Sure, but how could Obama, with Air Force One, red carpets, all this power, go to Africa and say, you can't have cars or air conditioning? How can he hate the West? How can George Soros, who's just gotten away with everything, why do they hate it? All they do is demonize the West. I've been to other countries. This country isn't perfect, but my God, they're trying to kill what is special about it. I want to go back to Paul Watson. We'll come back to you, Joe. We're going to play a clip here in a few minutes. But we've got Leanne McAdoo and others coming in here. As we do this live, we're live right now. It's 7:32. 5 more minutes, Watson. Other key points, 70+ dead. In fact, the number's going up right now. Truck running over people, machine gunning people. Supposedly, what do we know about the hostages? Is this accurate? It's in the news that hostages at nightclubs, hostages at hotels, Paul.
They're saying that the hostage thing is not happening now. We don't know. I mean, this could get even worse.
So San Bernardino was workplace violence. Maybe it's workplace violence.
No, exactly. I mean, I was watching Sky News, and because there was a mistranslation with the French president who said this is a criminal act, they immediately seized on this, and they were like, oh, maybe it is just a criminal act. And they will seize on anything to do. Other key points. The head of the French police, and this article was up 4 days ago on INFOWARS.com, said 1 or 2 more terror attacks or 1 more mass molestation like we saw in Cologne, like we've seen in Sweden repeatedly over the past week. Women literally being raped in the middle of concerts by these Muslim migrants. He said that's going to trigger civil war in France. But of course, who did he blame? He blamed the right wing. So again, don't address the actual source of the problem that is causing all this resentment, this violence. Just blame it on the right wing. And we had another report today on Infowars.com. The French government, it's come out in the parliamentary report about the Bataclan theatre massacre, covered up the fact, we know from eyewitnesses that they said people were being tortured, they heard the screams, how they were being tortured. People literally had their testicles cut off and shoved in their mouth. People were beheaded. People were having their eyes gouged out during that Bataclan theatre siege.
Well, that's the thing, is I was reading about ISIS, is if they think you're gay, like 50 dudes will rape you and then shove your testicles in your mouth. It's like a demon group. It's like as long as they're raping you because you're gay, it's okay. Or they'll rape a 6-year-old girl like 100 guys, till they die, and then they are proud of it. Who are these people? I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that it's like, what the hell? What the hell is wrong with these governments?
It's cultural enrichment, Alex. We should welcome it. Refugees welcome. But they covered it up. They covered the fact that people having their testicles cut off and shoved in them is a common Islamist atrocity that we've seen throughout the Middle East, because they thought it would offend Muslims. Again, same with San Bernardino. They were shipping in the weapons, the explosives, to this apartment. The neighbors saw it. They didn't report it because they feared being labeled racist.
Was that something? I mean, where do they get this to cut the testicles off for rape little girls? I mean, is that, did Muhammad teach that, Paul?
Well, Muhammad was a pedophile, and that's the point. They're following the dictates of somebody who urged them to go out and kill the infidels. Islam has been at war with the West for 1,400 frigging years. Why is this a surprise to us? You asked earlier, why are they doing this? Well, because it's not a religion of peace. Read the frigging Quran and say, oh, yeah, but if you kill one non-Muslim, you kill. They say that's in the Quran. Well, yes, but it's completely contradicted by numerous other passages in the Quran which say, kill the infidels, smite them at the neck. That's the religion they're following. It's not a religion of peace. And until we realize that, until we stop shouting down the voices of reform, the ex-Muslims and the Muslims who are saying we need to reform this religion, it's violent, it's barbaric, it's intolerant, we're going to see this again and again. An attack every other month in France alone. Europe's turning into Israel. We predicted that years ago. It's happening.
And again, the governments love it because they can pose as saviors, because they think they've suspended logic, where they blame the right wing because they brought in 5 million jihadists. And I see the videos, and I've been to Europe, and you just go there, and it's like all the major cities are basically Islamic. They ought to be happy. They conquered it. They took it over. If they just shut up and bring more folks in, they could do it and have the women all chained up. But they can't help it. They want to start showing off to their family, getting the Saudi Arabian money. It's well known. When they go shoot people or blow something up, $1 million gets sent to mommy. And as long as mommy's allowed to not be thrown in prison, this is going to keep happening, Paul. I don't want to torture mommy. I want to show her talking to her son, telling him good job, and I want to lock her ass up. If my mother was supporting me killing people, she should have her ass locked up. I'm sick of this. We're a bunch of cowards and punks putting up with this crap.
And the other argument, Alex, is, oh, it's just economics. These people are poor, they're desperate. Well, no, if you actually look into suicide bombers and Islamists, a lot of them are very well educated. Then they say, oh, well, it's just backlash against Western imperialism. It's enshrined in their own Sharia-based law that they barbarically kill people.
Let's blame some imperialism, and I'm not blaming all of us. Listen, this show, myself, have a connection to England, and America was founded by it, so it's good things happen too. But the British royal family and MI6 and MI5 and OSS before that helped set up the Saudis as their horrible little nasties in there. So it's not imperialism's the backlash, though. Imperialism runs radical jihad, and there is a sick imperialism, globalist imperialism allied with it, Paul.
I'm saying you can oppose that. You can oppose attacking Libya, handing it over to jihadists, but you can also oppose Islam because it's the intolerant religion. It's holding two thoughts in your head at the same time. Can we do that? Well, no, leftists can't do that. Now we've got, like Black Lives Matter people on Twitter saying, here's one of them, I suppose France can't be a tragic accident. It has to be something that gets white people all scared and bothered. So within minutes of this attack,
Black Lives Matter makes a joke. Yeah, well, let's expand on that. The controlled corporate left is a destabilizer. Soros funds all this, and so they're allied with it. And it's very, very sad to create division. And I've seen this whole thing where, it's the cops' fault they got killed, because we see the videos, the out-of-control cops, which there are some bad ones. It's just the point is the establishment wants a revolution against local government instead of actually a revolution against the globalists that have hijacked the country. That's a restoration. I want to go to Kit Daniels and a final comment from Paul. We're going to play a tape from John Bow and then bring in several of our reporters to give their take on this. We're going to bring in Margaret and Leanne. But let's go to Kit Daniels, who is here working, again, almost 8 o'clock at night Central. It's been there since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm just pointing out what a great crew we've got. I'm so proud of them. Fox News, they come into a 1-hour show, 2 hours of preparation. It's all scripted. I'm not bashing Fox. I'm just saying this is real analysis. This is real information. And our crew are really great folks. Kit Daniels, unscripted. I don't know your take on this. Tell us.
Yeah, I saw this interesting article on RT. It says, why has NATO chosen Russia as its enemy instead of ISIS? Now, you remember a couple of months back, the Russian Air Force, they basically bombed a third of ISIS into abolition. And, it was only a couple of months, I think it was like 4 or 5 months of bombing, and poof, 33% of ISIS was completely gone. And so this columnist points out that the main reason is because there's very little profit in combating Islamic State. And NATO is primarily a money racket, which provides a lot of influential people with a very comfortable lifestyle flying around the globe.
They want to build up giant weapons and make the Russians bankrupt themselves countering it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget why ISIS was funded by the State Department and the Pentagon, like in 2012, even before that. It was to topple Assad in Syria to help the NATO ally Turkey, which is in NATO, but yet it's one of the biggest sponsors of terrorism, just like Saudi Arabia.
And it's the gateway for the Islamic invasion into Europe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also another thing that's been feared about Turkey joining the EU is because once you have once Turkey's in the EU, all the citizens get visas to enter any single country. That's the biggest fear, is the fact that ISIS can exploit that. Use Turkish visas.
And again, nobody, Islam's all loving. Turkey was Istanbul.
Yeah.
Turkey,
before it was Constantinople before that.
Exactly, was Constantinople. It was taken over and hundreds of thousands were murdered.
What's interesting,
and sold into slavery.
Is going back 1,000 years, the reason the Turks took over Asia Minor from the Byzantines was because the Byzantines started pulling back on their borders. They stopped controlling their border. They actually took families that were living on the frontier land and moved them back. That allowed all the Turks, even the precursors to the Ottomans, to move into the
that's
continent.
it. We're dealing with Stone Age crazies, slavers. I mean, they wrote the book on slavery, and we're so dumb, we won't even point out that the West was taught about slavery, and Christians actually fought it. It took them hundreds of years to actually ever stop it. But there was a movement to stop slavery from day one, and it's just all been written by the Muslims. And again, it's just history. I'm sick of being blamed for everything. This is crazy, and we've got to stop it.
Yeah, Alex, the other thing the realize is the fact that Christianity were the first people to stop slavery. I mean, before Christianity, you had certain groups that were against slavery, but only only if it was against their people being enslaved. It was the Christians that pointed out, hey, let's not enslave humans, period. But then
so we get the blame for it. Yeah. I know, it's just insane.
And then people forget the Ottoman Empire was one of the biggest slave trading. I think it was the biggest slave trading empire for like 500-600 years. Also, another thing I want to point out is the fact on Twitter, the leftists are complaining about people sharing the videos of this attack, saying it's too brutal, so on and so forth. But these same liberals are the ones that are sharing police brutality videos. So this is complete disconnect, complete hypocrisy.
Clear. We don't just blank check defend the police. I literally wrote the books and films on the police state trying to stop it. But now I realize they want to overthrow it completely and bring in a globalist thing through the police state. I want to try to reach out and reform things and not have a civil war. Kit Daniels, incredible points. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Great job to Don Salazar and Mikhail Thalen and just everybody up here. Now, I can't thank everybody from just everybody here, an amazing crew. You, the viewers, you, the listeners. McBreen. I was saying Darren McBreen. He just popped in with a handsome Irish devil over there. What do you think of this whole thing, my friend?
Well, we got some breaking news. Rob Jacobson and I just attempted to put a video, the Donald Trump snake video, right? And we wanted to put that up on Facebook because, as you know, he's warned the world about these terrorist attacks for months now.
For years.
For years, all right. So this is interesting. And Jacobson, come in here. You can help me out. But we the meta tags, when you put something up on Facebook, you want to put keywords in there so people are able to better find your video.
That's how they know what it is. Yeah, it's like if it's a thing about foodie stuff, about short ribs, you put short ribs in. If it's a thing about, a rock concert with Van Halen, you do that.
That's right. So Jacobson simply attempted to type in Muslim terrorist. Not only was it rejected, and by the way, we got this on video. We're going to put a report out real soon.
Oh, my God.
Not only was it rejected, but it came up with a suggestion. And wait for this. You're not going to believe it. Muslims are not terrorists.
Oh, well, that's Obama says you can't say it. Yeah. It's this crazy monotheistic chauvinist. I have daughters. I am threatened by this. And then I'm the bigot. I'm the anti-female. Because I'm totally threatened by this. I mean, I just, And I'm not patronizing women or even virtue signaling. I frickin' spoil my women.